waiting to see it go live myself. Oh, we're live.
Yep, we're live.
All right. Ready to hit record.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Top Deck, a Magic podcast for the good, the bad, and the lucky. I'm your host, Christian Kingsbury, and I'm here with my co-host, Eric Nappy. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. This is the first episode, so, we got some nerves going on, but I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're feeling nervous. For those of you watching or listening to us for episode 0, all I have to say to you is, wow, what are you doing? This is going to be the bad one.
Yep.
Yeah, we named this episode 0 because we know there's going to be so many hiccups, and this is not going to be a normal podcast for us. So, we figured we would just make this to introduce ourselves, what we think the podcast is going to entail in the future, and to test things. So I guess I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Christian Kingsbury. You may know me more as Spooty1 from Tapped Out. I began doing articles there about a year or two ago. And I was most notable for my series named Showdown, where I would pit 2 decks against each other, one of my own against one that was submitted to me through Tapped Out. So you may know me from that. In addition to that, I created deck techs, personal opinion articles, and more. And recently, I started up a new series called Spooty Decks, where I kind of create silly to less competitive decks, as well as discussing certain archetypes in the standard format. What about you?
You guys might know me as the reason you all have him. But as far as community stuff, I'm not a big member of the community. I've been playing Magic for a while now, but it's mostly just something I do for fun. And then we decided to do this, and why not make some content? I have streamed Magic a few times, Magic Online, but I'm terrible, so I don't do it too often.
Can confirm. You kind of gave foreshadowing there. The person who taught me to play was you.
Yep.
Let's see, it was January of 2013. You messaged me saying that I was going to learn how to play Magic because you were. And I believe my immediate response was, I don't know about that, because I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh a lot. Not competitively or anything, just mostly with my little sisters growing up. And the one thing I did know about playing Yu-Gi-Oh was I had an insane card addiction. And as a child growing up, I would spend all the money I got on new packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not singles, because I didn't know that even singles existed, that you could do that. So I just bought lots of booster packs. And I knew that I was predisposed for an addiction there. So I believe what I told you was okay, but I only really agreed because you told me that you and I could use your decks that you already had and that I didn't have to buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if I recall correctly, we played a few games, and then we immediately left to go to the card store so I could buy cards.
It was pretty much we played for like hours, and then we went to the card store.
Yeah, it was surprisingly good from the get-go. I don't think I ever lost to Doomgate. It was a great time had by all.
Well, I'm sensing some sarcasm there, because I'm pretty sure you lost to Doomgate over and over.
For those of you who don't know or who are not familiar, you taught me through the Izzet versus Golgari duel decks. So that was my first first time even looking at a Magic card. And I gotta admit, I'm a little proud of myself for that because, I'm planning on potentially teaching my dad how to learn Magic over Christmas. And so I've been looking up certain things that I could buy maybe to teach him. And I was like, I'll just get him a dual deck because that's how I learned. It was fine. And I looked up the dual decks. I'm like, these are so complex. These cards are so complex. There's no vanilla creatures.
Yeah, going back and looking, especially at the Izzet one, it is pretty,
It's insane.
it's combo-y.
Who who tries to bring somebody into Magic and says, now let me tell you a little something about Dredge.
Yeah, right?
Everything I'm about to teach you, don't even pay attention to it because I'm just going to dump things into my grave and I'm going to say I'm drawing cards, but really just going to be like putting more things into my grave. It's not going to make any sense and I'm just going to beat you over and over again. And then you're going to see Doomgape, also known as bullshit, or at least to a new player because that thing was basically unbeatable for me at the time. But it's funny because I've gone back and looked at that card, and now I realize how silly I was.
Well, you were also playing a dual deck. So it's not like the power level's high, even if it's complex.
Yeah, what was I going to do? Burn it out?
It's what, like a 10-10 or something?
I think it's 10-10, yeah. And it just keeps coming back, too.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I mentioned that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! When I played Yu-Gi-Oh! My favorite thing to do was play a mill deck, so I was highly skilled. And so I started out in Magic wanting to be a mill player. I liked blue decks. I liked that blue-black had this sort of mill thing. When I came in, it was in the middle of Return to Ravnica block, and Gatecrash had not yet come out, but was soon to. So the Dimir Guild, their mechanic was Cypher?
Yeah, it was terrible. But yes.
Dimir as a whole, as a color combination at least, is mostly revolving around mill. So I kind of just dove right into that. And I loved it, but I just didn't win ever. But I still liked it because I'm a bit of a Johnny Spike, and so I do like to win, but if I'm going to win, I need to be doing it in my own way most of the time. And so we go to FNM finally, and I realize this isn't working. So I move towards Esper Control because I'm learning about new decks. I see these terrible cards such as Supreme Verdict and Detention Sphere, and I'm like, I gotta have those because they're overpowered and broken, and they kill everything. That's all I want. So I moved into Esper Control. It was bad Esper Control. I called it Esper Midrange because I didn't know what midrange meant. And because I was playing these awesome creatures called Vampire Nighthawk, as well as, let's see if I can get these names right, I believe it was Arctic Aven and Harbor Bandit?
I don't even remember. I also forgot that Vampire Nighthawk was in Standard back then.
Right. And, okay, so first things first, Vampire Nighthawk, I talk about Doomgate. Vampire Nighthawk was the first card that I experienced. I said, okay, no, that's actually overpowered. Like, that makes no sense that that's 3 mana that has all those abilities. That absolutely makes no sense. So, and still to this date, I feel that way.
It's an evil card.
But yeah, after Esper Control, I kind of went around with that. Dragon's Maze came out along with Voice of Resurgence and Advent of the Worm. What's funny is that when I first started, I hated green. I always thought that it was just a dumb color. I moved into Bant Midrange when those cards came out, and then I just absolutely fell in love with green-white and mid-range decks in general. And I've basically just been forcing green-white and or mid-range ever since then.
It's disgusting.
What are you talking about? You don't like green-white?
I've only played it for like the last 2 years, so played against it, sorry.
I was gonna say that. But yeah, so currently, been out of Standard for a little bit in real life, but kind of came back once you moved up closer here. Was trying to play a green-black Strength in the Fallen combo deck. Didn't really get to play it much. I like, the green-white Megamorph decks, but they're just too expensive. I can't really play Standard anymore.
Standard right now is, I think, the most expensive Standard since Caw-Blade.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous right now.
Yeah. So I still just mostly play green white, but I also like to play Simic from time to time. It's like my second favorite color combo.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you? Who taught you how to play?
Okay, so I had a friend. I guess I had met him the first or second year of college, and he had been playing forever and had a couple of decks, and we met up and we played, I don't know, 2 games, and I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. This was probably about 6 months before I introduced you to the game.
Okay.
And a couple months later, I went down to an expo in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they got those swag bags. They hand you the 30 card shitty sample decks that have no rares and a bunch of bad commons and uncommons, and then like 15 lands, and I was hooked.
That's a really small deck.
It's really small, it's really bad, but it's literally just, it's like there so they get you to buy a deck at the con.
Oh my god.
And it worked, because that's where I got those Izzet and Golgari decks.
Yeah?
And the people I was with at the con, I was like, hey guys, let's play Magic. And they've never played either. And I could not get them to play with me the entire time. I think I played one whole game with them. And I brought these really not very high power level pre-constructed decks down to like the free play area, and I got the floor wiped with me, but I still loved it. It was so much fun. And then, for a while there, I was just playing with those pre-constructed decks because, one, I didn't have anyone else that really played, so I didn't want to put more money into it, and 2, I wasn't sure if, was this what I was going to do with my life now? Like, just play a bunch of Magic?
Yeah, because see, Magic, for those of you who don't know, it's very hard to just go half into Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, just financially alone, you kind of have to go all in.
Yeah. I mean, before Magic, I wasn't big into trading card games. I played Pokemon like we all did when we were like 10 years old. I played it very poorly because we all did when we were 10 years old.
Guilty.
Yeah. And mostly not a standard player. I get bored with standard decks pretty easily, unless they do stupid things, which I will talk about later. But my first standard deck was, so I love drafting. I gotta realize that drafting is my favorite format. It's also the only format that I care about winning in. Drafting in Sealed.
I can also confirm that.
But I had this rug. I think it was, what was it, RTR or was it Gate Crash that deck came from?
After Gate Crash, because that's when the mechanic came out that you're referring to.
Oh yeah, so it was either Gate Crash or Dragon's Maze, and it was, I liked Gruul at the time, and you could just splash for a 3rd color at that point. So I was like, blue cards are coming my way, gonna play some blue cards. And it was a bigger version of this crappy rug draft deck that kind of was like, it liked Blood Rush. And then I was like, you know what, the blue's just making it worse. It's going to be a Gruul Blood Rush deck. And it was horrible. It won like maybe 30% of the time at any actual events.
But when it did win,
it was winning by like blood rushing the Double Strike Giant and
what was that? Something giant, I guess.
Yeah, it was the Double Strike Giant and the one that blood rushed for really cheap but gave it +X where X was the number of lands you control. Rubble Hulk. That was Rubble Hulk. It would just do that and like deal 20 damage to you in a turn. Of course, I have to have like 10 mana at that point, which you don't want to do in an aggressive deck, which it was trying to be, but
The 30% win condition, because you do like always win at that point because no one ever expects it, but you have to just hope that they don't kill you for 10 turns.
Yeah, and that normally didn't happen.
No.
Like, it's just like chump blocking over and over and over until you get a ton of mana.
Yeah, I used to beat you all the time with my amazing Esper mid-range deck.
Mid-range.
Mid-range. Something.
Yeah. But since then, you know, I love red-green. I love blue-red because it does silly things. So if I'm doing a constructed deck, I'm going to make it do silly things, and I feel like those have the most potential for silliness.
I agree.
Especially blue-red, because I mean, flip a coin for every coin that you flip this turn. If you win the flip, flip a coin.
Oh my god.
Oh.
That is a good introduction to Izzet.
That is Izzet at its very core. Also counter all the spells. But more recently, I've been playing. Well, I've not even more recently. I've played a ton of EDH as well because I enjoy doing silly things, which is what EDH is known for.
Exactly.
And I've got a green-red tokens deck with. Wait, hold on. We got some chat. Never mind. I've got a green-red Ulash tokens deck that normally never combos out, and then a blue-red Izzet deck, which is it's more a control deck that just draws a bunch of cards, and it runs original Niv Mizzet Drake Firemind, so it just draws a bunch of cards and tries to kill you that way.
I'm gonna pause you for 1 second.
Yep.
Are we having sound issues from me?
I don't believe so. What's happening with the sound?
I'm just listening to the podcast now.
Sorry for the delay, guys.
It sounds good to me. If nothing else, I'm just a little quiet.
I mean, I can turn myself down a little bit. You're already turned all the way up, so
Oh, wow.
I'll turn myself down a little bit more. Maybe if I go into my mixer, I can mess with that a little bit.
All right. Just let me know when you've got that taken care of, and we can continue on. Apologies, everyone.
All right, I've messed with stuff, so we should be good now.
All right. If you're in chat, just let us know if it's fixed or not, and if it isn't, we'll continue to fix it. This is what episode 0 is all about.
Also, I'm going to put our names. I totally didn't think of this, but I'm going to put our names under us.
Good idea. Again, bear with us for all.
Yeah.
The sound for me should be fine on my end for the actual podcast itself. I will also possibly cut this out.
Probably a good plan.
All right. Well, I guess we can continue on then.
Just a second. Let me get this all figured out. Text takes too long. Boom. Okay, now we are good to go.
All right. So, we've mostly talked about you and I, but I don't think we've spoken all about what we're actually doing with this podcast.
We have not. We've just kind of kept talking.
Right, as we do. That's what we're going to do with this podcast, is we're just going to keep talking, and we're going to hope that people listen. But no, seriously, this podcast, we don't pretend, like, you probably already know this actually, but we don't pretend that we're the best Magic players out there.
Not even close.
We're not. Exactly. You can probably tell we're not. I've never even been to a GP. I know you have. I want to, but I just never even have.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't even.
We're not.
I didn't even play in the main event at the GP. I just played side events.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're not. If you're coming here for skilled discussion on how to be competitive at Magic, thank you, but you're probably at the wrong place. You're still welcome, but don't expect that. Now, this is going to be more of a general discussion on Magic the Gathering. I know you and I, we like to discuss new cards when they come out. There's probably going to be a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just our opinions on those new cards and where we think they might fit in. But also just like, what do we like about the cards? Do we like the flavor? Do we like the art? Do we like the casting cost, the flavor tag? Like, we like to go in depth on new cards.
Yeah, and normally about stuff that isn't even particularly relevant to the actual game.
Yes. I also plan for us to possibly put our opinions in on current events should they come up. I don't really know exactly how in detail that's going to go, but I'm sure they'll be there. Possible deck ideas we have, be it for standard or EDH or draft. I don't know. We don't really play modern, so
I'm too cheap to do.
And I'm too. I like rotation too much to play modern, I think. Something else we're potentially planning on doing is starting, I think, next episode. We are going to be doing a paraphrased Magic lore series where we will both read the Uncharted Realms of the previous week, or I guess 2 weeks, and we will paraphrase it for you with a good bit of creative freedom on our end.
Yeah, it's creative freedom. Definitely words I would use to describe what we're planning on doing.
Yeah. Was my audio still low?
I mean, I've got you turned up as high as you go, and I'm at something.
Oh, wow. All right, well, I guess we'll have this fixed for the next time, I promise.
Yes.
So if you're able to bear through it for this time, please do. We appreciate it. All right. So, and just overall, just our enjoyment of the game, things we want to talk about, things we like, different stories and things like that we want to say.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, we both have a few stories that we'd like to share with you all.
Ah, yes. This is the fun stuff.
This is more what you're likely to witness on a bi-weekly podcast. I should make that known. This is going to be, at least at first, a bi-weekly podcast. So every 2 weeks, roughly, you can, at the end, I'll let you know where you can follow us on Twitter and things like that. And we will let you know when we'll be going live, when the podcast will be going up, etc. But I think I'd like to start, if it's okay with you. I'm going to start with my first draft experience.
This is probably my favorite story that you have.
It's one of my least favorite. All right, so I mentioned that I began before Gatecrash, nearly right before Gatecrash came out. And as a result, we went to the Gatecrash pre-release. I believe this was my first event ever, in addition to my first draft. So
it wasn't a draft, it was pre-release.
Well, we did a draft for pre-release, didn't we?
No. It may have been the week after pre-release. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, well then in that case, maybe we didn't go to pre-release. It's so hazy. I was new. I thought it was pre-release. Okay, so then in that case, we went to a draft. It was a Gatecrash draft. I believe it was triple Gate. Yeah, it was triple Gatecrash. And so we go there. Keep in mind, still new to Magic, definitely new to drafting. I had done like a little bit of research beforehand, but I was mostly there because, like I said, I was trying to build this blue-black like control mill deck, and I just wanted more cards. So I go into the draft thinking to myself, all right, I don't know how to draft. I'm just going to pick all the cards I want for my crappy standard deck. And I do. I think my first pick was Clinging Anemones, which I wanted because it was anemones and because it was a wall of sorts. It's a horrible card, but I wanted it. And we go through the first pack and a half, maybe, before I realize I don't know where my cards are. I don't know all the cards that I've picked up to this point throughout the draft. I don't know where they're at. And so I'm panicking a little bit. I'm looking around and trying to look on the floor, on my lap, anything, nowhere to be found. Until I realize, oh crap, I passed my pile of picks as a different pack. And my heart sank a little bit because I was already a noob. And this was just like the most imperfect thing for me to do, because not only did it screw with my draft, but it screwed up everybody's draft at the whole table. So I call somebody over and no one knew what to do. So what ended up happening was that everyone gave me cards from their picks until it evened out as it should have been, which basically means my first half of the draft, all I got were the actual worst cards from everyone. And I didn't have nearly any of the cards I wanted from my deck.
Yeah,
so
I wasn't in the same pod as you for that draft. But I remember drafting and like looking over and it just being chaos. Like it was
the worst thing.
And I was like, what happened over there? And then I talked to you and I was like, oh, it's your fault.
You should have known it was my fault, to be
I
fair.
should have.
So yeah, I finished out the draft feeling horrible. I didn't win a single match, though I did win one game. I remember in round like 2 or 3, I faced this guy who was, right from the get-go, he was just incredibly salty. He must have been having a horrible time.
I mean, if he was going against you,
bad time as me.
Well, all I'm saying is, if he was going against you, at that point, his deck was probably not doing what he wanted it to do.
Yeah, I think we were probably both 0-2. And game 1, I think he just got like mana screwed, if I remember correctly. But I actually won, and that's all I cared about. And so, of course, for the rest of the match, he was just so salty about it all. But yeah, if you go to your first draft, I highly, highly recommend do not pass your picks.
Pro tips from Spoody1.
Yeah, it is the single worst thing you can do in a draft. It is like the opposite of cheating when it comes to increasing your win percentage. So let's go to you. Let's hear a story from you.
All right, so like I said earlier, I play tons of my favorite constructed format, and I'm a jerk. I'm just I'm a straight jerk. I was playing this with some friends, my brother, and I think my brother like did the first attack of the entire match, and he attacked me. So
This is a mistake.
This is a mistake. So I was playing my token deck. So I was amassing a small pile of tokens at the time, and I throw down Molten Primordial, I believe, the one that does an active trees on everyone on the.
Yes.
And I stole his only creature, and then 2 other creatures, attacked him, and left him at 1 life for the rest of the game. Because I knew that he didn't have any way to gain life in his deck.
Oh
and I just
God.
left him there. Like, I didn't attack him again. I just left him at 1 life for the entire game, so he couldn't pick anybody off.
That's awesome.
Another jerk story that I have is actually a little bit more recently. We were playing with your girlfriend, and
Mm-hmm.
This isn't so much a jerk story as just me wanting to do something crazy instead of something smart.
Yes. Okay, I know where you're going with this.
Which is it's another trait of mine that I have when I play EDH. So I again playing the token deck, and I don't know if you guys know Descent of Dragons, but it destroys any number of target creatures and replaces them with 4/4 or 5/5 dragon tokens. I had a bunch of creatures on the field because token deck, and
Yes.
I also had Perforus on the field.
Yes.
And so I could have destroyed a bunch of creatures and just killed everyone. But instead, I let your girlfriend go down to 2 life and then attacked her with 15 dragons the next turn. Even if she was playing a black deck, so she could have had a board wipe at any time. But I wanted to swing in.
Playing a mono white deck.
Well, you were dead.
I think was I dead? Oh, that's right. You killed me at the time.
Yes, I killed you.
Yes. Okay.
I was just like, I want to swing with 15 giant dragons, so you guys have to wait another turn.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I also have some EDH stories, and also involving my girlfriend Cheryl. She so we were playing a different game. It was the 3 of us. I believe I was playing a blue-green deck, and you were playing. You're probably still playing Ulasht.
I love that deck.
Well, she was playing a mono black. Oh, what's it called? Ashling the Extinguisher.
Yeah,
it's the black Ashling, and it was a Voltron deck, and so I'm playing through my deck. Playing through the game rather, and I get to a point where I have the option to steal her Ashling, and she wasn't super ahead by any means, but you just had no targets.
Yeah, I didn't have anything at the time.
Actually, you know what? I think you were playing Niv Mizzet, now that I think about it.
That would make more sense for me not having targets.
Yeah, because you just didn't have anything I could steal, so I was just like, well, I have to do something, so I guess I'll do this. No hard feelings. There were hard feelings, not by me though. There she can be very vengeful, and she was so upset that by the end of the game. Oh no, you were playing Ulasht, because here's the thing: you filled the board up with creatures.
Okay.
And I had nothing I could do about it. So it goes to her turn. She's playing mono black. Goes to her turn, and she just passes. And I'm like, damn it, like, I didn't want this game to end this way. Keep in mind, she says nothing. She just passes. So you go, you attack us, we both die. Then she shows me her hand. In her hand was a board wipe. And I'm just like, what the hell? You could have stopped that. Why didn't you? And she's just like, no, I just didn't want you to win. So yeah, so she was willing to have me and her die and the game to end just so that I couldn't win. Hard feelings were felt.
Well, I mean, that's why you shouldn't date vindictive people.
Yeah. So, let's see here. There was also the time that I was at F&M and I was playing against a guy who thought damage still went on the stack.
Really?
Yeah, so let's see. I was playing a deck with Hornet Nest in it. My opponent was playing a Teamer deck with Savage Knuckleblades.
Okay.
So previously my Hornet Nest had been attacked into, and so I had a few Hornets on the field, a few flying insect creatures with Death Touch. And he has 2 Savage Knuckleblades. And for those of you who don't know, Savage Knuckleblade has 3 abilities, one of which is the ability to pay mana and return it to your hand at instant speed. So he attacks with both of his Knuckleblades into my Hornets. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what he has. He has to have something, or maybe he's just like hoping that I won't block and then he'll return them to his hand. Either way, I'm like, I'm just gonna block.
Mm-hmm.
So I block each with a hornet or an insect, whatever. And then he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna return him." I'm like, "Okay, that's 6 mana gone. That's fine with me." And then he says, "Your hornets are dead." I'm like, I don't think that's correct. But I wasn't the most or I'm not always the most confident, and so I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing here. So I'm like, "Are you sure that's how it works?" And then he looks at me dead in the eyes, just like, "Yes, that's how it works." Like, just the most arrogant way. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. Like, I'm pretty sure that only works if damage goes on the stack because they're not dealing damage. There's nothing for them to deal damage. So I actually let it slide. I say to myself, well, I could call a judge over, but I kind of just don't care because I'm so far ahead in this game, and he just returned both of his knuckle blades to his hand. So I proceed to continue with the game, and I just stomp on him. It didn't even matter.
Humble brag.
Indeed. Afterwards, I go to my friend at the time, and I was just like, I explained the situation. He's like, "Nah, that's not how it works." And I think I even messaged you, and I'm like,
"You probably did.
Is this correct?" And you were just like, No, not at all. You were absolutely right." So I was just like, okay, good to know.
Yeah, not so much of a story, but it's kind of funny because it's the exact opposite sense that I'm like, I do these crazy plays. I go for like the least optimum play when I'm playing EDH. If I'm playing draft or limited or sealed, I will make like the leanest, meanest deck I possibly can. I will play whatever colors I feel are going to do the best in that situation. Whereas I'm playing EDH, I refuse to play white just because I hate white.
Which is unfair, might I add.
Yeah, well, it's probably because of you.
It's fine. I refuse to play red, so we're even.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh.
Yeah, you mostly play red, green, red, blue. I know you have that mono black rat deck.
I do want to actually put that together in physical cards because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun for you.
It's
not fun for people who want to have cards.
It just make you discard all your cards and not be able to block my rat. I haven't talked about my my most recent standard deck though.
Oh yes, you should do that. And then I'll tell one last story, my favorite EDH story ever.
Yes. I hate that. Because I know what you're talking about. All right, so this is it's in our most recent standard now. I saw Awaken cards. It's like this is a cool mechanic, but they're all sorcery speed. They're all really expensive for their Awaken cost. It's probably not going to be a great thing. It'll be good in draft, but that's about it. And I saw Noyan Dar. I was like, well, he makes them pretty fun, but still, it's not going to be a good deck. But then I tell you, for some reason, I don't know why I did this. I tell you, if I pull a Noyan Dar from a box, I'm going to make an Awaken deck. And what do you know? About halfway through that box, I opened Noyan Dar.
I believe you opened 2 Noyan Dars.
No, I opened only one. I'm borrowing one from you.
Oh, is that correct? Oh, okay.
But so I made this deck. It's terrible. It's so bad. It doesn't do anything until like turn 6. It's horrible. But it's probably the most fun standard deck I have ever played. It is ridiculous.
At that game day, rather.
Yeah, it was game day.
You took that. I took a mostly complete green-white Megamorph deck. I made it to the finals. You didn't win a match apart from a bye.
I didn't win a game.
Oh my god. And I'm fairly certain that you still had more fun than I did.
Oh yeah, I had a ton. I think my match 2, I was playing the guy, and then like he couldn't figure out the deck. He's like, "Why aren't you playing anything? Why aren't you playing creatures? You're playing a bunch of spells." And then like you can see the light bulb just pop on his head. He yells in the middle of the shop, his creature or his lands are his creatures.
Yeah, I was on the other side of the room, and I just turn around and start cracking up because I knew exactly what was going on.
That was
great.
so I really didn't win a game, and it was probably the most fun I ever had playing Standard.
All right, so now I'm going to tell you about my favorite ever game of EDH. This also happens to be one of my first ever games of EDH, and certainly my first one-on-one game. So at the time, you were trying to get me to play EDH. I wasn't necessarily all in. I didn't like the 100 card singleton deal, and it was just a little bit silly to me at the time. By the way, I love EDH now.
Because I forced you.
You forced me until I liked it. But so my first EDH deck was a 5-color Corona the False God EDH deck.
I believe you put it together just because you wanted to play all of the guild gates and all of the charms.
This deck had all the charms, all the key runes, all of the oh god, what were they called? The 2-color mana rocks from Dragon's Maze.
Clue stones?
One of all the clue stones, all the guild gates, a single crackling perimeter. I may have even had a Maze's End in there. I'm not sure. It was just all chaos. There was no win condition. It was just 5-color, play all of one of these cycles of cards. And so I didn't even know what I was doing either. So you're playing... Well, actually, it wasn't even your Ulash deck at the time. This was back when it was...
It was Thromok at that point.
Thromok, correct. But it was still a token-spewing deck.
The shell was almost identical.
Indeed. So we're playing through this game, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing to win, but I'm just kind of playing and trying to live. And you get to the point where you're just way ahead. And I decide to make a play outside of the game because it was my only way of winning. So I had a card in my hand called Rakdos Charm. And for those of you who are not familiar, Rakdos Charm is a red and a black for an instant speed spell. It has 3 modes and you choose one. I don't even remember what the other 2 modes are. There's only one mode that matters for this conversation. And that is each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. So if you had 5 creatures, you take 5 damage, etc. I had hardly any creatures on my board. You could have easily killed me. But I tell you, well, why stop there? You should just fill up your board before you kill me.
And I'm dumb, and it worked.
You're like, you know what? I am going to do that. So you take another turn or 2 to just absolutely fill your board with goblins, I believe.
It was probably goblins.
And finally, you're like, all right. And you're just like, all right, let's end this. So you just attack, and I'm like, in response.
Before damage.
Before damage, Rakdos Charm. I'll choose this mode, please. And I won. Deserved. So deserved.
Sure.
Definitely one of my proudest moments ever in Magic. Just the dumbest way to win. But you know what? That's a lesson to you. Play to your outs.
Play to your outs. Even if your outs are goading your opponent into making stupid decisions.
You know, sometimes you just have to do that. All right. Well, that's most of what we have to discuss today. And it's a good thing, too, because we're almost 45 minutes in already.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and finish up here. Info about the next podcast. We are hoping to do this on a bi-weekly basis, so that's once every 2 weeks. We'll be exactly 14 days apart each time. That's not confirmed yet. We have differing schedules from time to time. I feel like often this is going to happen on the weekend just because you work, full-time job.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try to keep it roughly every 2 weeks. If something changes, you will be informed. What will the next podcast be about? I honestly don't know yet. Do you have any ideas?
I mean, I'm not sure. Chat or anyone listening to this afterwards, if you want to see something, let us know. Because, I mean,
yes,
maybe one of your ideas will be much better than our ideas.
If we can't come up with something else, I think we should probably talk about the new Commander sets that just came out.
I definitely would. I think that would be a...
Yeah, so if nothing else, you can expect that next time. Just a full discussion. Full discussion on the cards we want to talk about of the new Commander 2015 set, as well as things that we like or dislike. It'll probably be that. But, so, how can you reach us? My name is Christian. Again, you may know me as Spooty1 on Twitter. That's how you can follow me. It'll be Spooty1. That's SPOOTYONE. For my personal email, that is thespooty1@gmail.com. And if you use tappedout.net, I'm also known as Spooty1 there. And how about you? How can people reach you?
So Twitter, I'm not too active on, but you can get me at StreamingEAK. Email, I'm going to be setting up a new email for this because my current personal email is a mess. So that'll probably be set up by the next podcast. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/EAK1791.
Yes. And as for actually contacting us in regards to the podcast, which we should probably mention.
Oh, yes.
We have some things set up on Twitter and on most places. We are the Top Deck Cast, and those are capital T, capital T, capital D, capital C, capital for each word. Email, same thing, thetopdeckcast@gmail.com. And we have a Twitch channel. You want to tell them about the Twitch channel?
I think
they may not know about it yet.
That's true. The people who actually aren't listening on Twitch are going to be listening somewhere that's not Twitch, so they won't know about it. It's twitch.tv/thetopdeckcast, because everything is the Top Deck Cast.
We tried so hard to get the Top Deck for things, and apparently it's just taken everywhere. So we're a podcast, so it'll be the Top Deck Cast.
Mm-hmm. We also have a YouTube, but the link is weird.
Yes.
You might be able to search for us at some point. I don't know. It's a little bit wonky right now because we just made a channel.
Yeah, YouTube has a hard time keeping up with things, it seems.
Mm-hmm. But once we get that actually sorted out, we will get the information out to you guys.
Absolutely. Again, follow the Twitter. We will post when information is new or there are things you need to know. And also, if you missed part of this podcast live, we will absolutely be recording all these. I've been recording the audio this whole time, and it will be uploaded to a site called Buzzsprout. And afterwards in the comments, I'll be sure to give the link to that. It'll sound probably better, assuming my audio was better than the stream audio, as well as we're going to have nice intro and outro music given to us by the awesome Chief Bill from Tapped Out. I think he did a really good job on that.
Yeah, he did awesome.
And what was I going to say? Oh no, the mind blank.
The mind blank.
It happened. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you'll be posting this to YouTube.
Yes, it'll be going up on YouTube as soon as Twitch finishes doing its conversion. And then YouTube does its conversion, and really it's just going to be a matter of time before it happens.
Yes. So, and again, we apologize for the probably low quality of the stream. We don't have things such as our overlay put together. You probably noticed that if you're actually watching. These are things we're going to work on as time progresses. Neither of us are, well, I mean, I'm not big into coding. You probably know a lot more than I do.
And I still don't know anything useful.
Yes, exactly. So that's where we're sitting at the time. If for some reason you want to make us an overlay or anything like that, feel free. We will totally take you up on that.
Yes.
But, if not, we will be working on that in time. And yeah, I guess, we'll see you in hopefully 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, follow, comment, all that stuff. If you're watching the podcast, leave a comment there. If we're up on iTunes at this point, give us some stars, leave a review.
Please.
Yes.
Please.
All the good stuff.
All the good things indeed. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for episode 0 of The Top Deck. We hope you all have had a good time, and we will speak to you in 2 weeks. So, until next time, may you never be mana screwed. See you guys.
All right. So, now for you guys who are actually on Twitch, if you want to ask us any questions, go for it.
Yep. This will not be in the actual podcast. That is stopped recording, but we will talk to you through here. So I do like the idea of most embarrassing MTG stories, though we did touch upon that a little bit.
We kind of did do that.
But there are some other stories that I think I could come up with, probably, if we needed to.
Yep.
I wonder what was going on with the audio.
I'm not sure. As far as I can see, our audio levels are about the same. I don't want to bring it up because then it's going to feed back through the stream. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, no, don't do that. We can try to figure it. For those of you who were bothered by that, we will have that fixed next time, almost assuredly. We tried to get our levels right before it this time, but man, something's just got to go wrong, right?
Yeah, for real. All right, so Peter wants to know why you don't play red.
Why don't I play red? Well, I could give the BS answer, just like, because it's stupid, but I'll give an actual response to this. Usually when I'm playing a game of Magic, I like to fill the role of like a mid-range or a control deck. I like to be able to respond to things people are doing, and I like to be able to have that feeling of I have to try to survive, and then once I have stabilized, then I can try to win. I don't like playing aggro decks at all. Not only am I not very good at playing them, because I don't usually play them, but it's just not my favorite kind of play style. I don't really have the mindset of it where I'm just gonna be like, attack with everything, I don't care, like I'm much too reserved for that way of thinking. But so because of that, red has this tendency to mostly focus around aggro, because that's sort of its area in the color pie. I do like burn spells. Burn spells are really nice, but that's just because I like winning, and burn spells help you win. And I like haste too, but I like my haste to be a bit more green tasting.
Green haste is
I would much prefer to cast a Gaia's Revenge versus a Monastery Swift Spear.
But you have to wait to cast the Gaia's Revenge. You get to cast the Monastery Swift Spear as soon as you have 1 mana. Why don't I play? Honestly, the biggest reason I don't the biggest reason I don't play white is because he plays so much white. But no,
That's like all I play.
I don't know. I just don't find it very exciting. It's very even things out, and I'd rather just get way ahead instead of even things out when I'm behind. And sure, white is very capable of getting way ahead as well, but it's not focused around it as much. I feel like the white mechanics are the most vanilla because they're white. But no, they're just the most. They're the most vanilla. You just give a bunch of creatures +1/+1. You give them all vigilance. Whereas
vigilance is like the most boring ability ever. I hate vigilance.
Whereas then you go into black and green, you're getting stuff back from the graveyard. Red, you're dealing direct damage. Blue, you're messing with their head.
I love bouncing things.
Yes, bouncing things. What are our favorite commanders from C15?
Oh man, you're gonna get a preview probably of next week.
Yeah. I see. That's the thing. I really like all of them. of the new ones. The reprinted ones, I'm a little bit disappointed with. I won't lie.
I am too, actually.
Except for maybe Gisela.
She's right. I don't care.
Of course. However, this is going to give you a little bit of input onto how I see cards. My favorite one, as far as names go, is definitely Karlov of the Ghost Council because he's Carl. He's just Carl.
What's my favorite name? You know what? My favorite name has got to be Mizzix of the Ismagnus because I had to teach myself how to pronounce that word, that name. Do you have an all-time favorite commander out of the new ones?
Out of the new ones, ooh, I still haven't decided which deck I want. I'm at the point where I'm going to buy all the decks because I can't decide which one I want.
Oh man, I wish I could do that.
Yes, just like I see what you did, enthralling victor. Like, I got it. It took me a second, but I got it.
And Herald of Torment, as well as the Herald of the Pantheon.
Yes,
that's my personal favorite.
Herald and Offensa go to White Castle.
If I had to pick a favorite commander out of the new ones, it's a real toss-up. My favorite deck, and the one that I've already pre-purchased, is the Simic one. Again, I play mostly green-white, but my second favorite color combo is blue-green. I've been wanting to build a blue-green commander deck for a long time now, but it just keeps getting pushed out by standard or more green-white decks.
You and your green-white deck.
So when Casita was first spoiled, I was overjoyed because I didn't know what they were going to do for green-blue. And the fact that they made it tribal, but also tribal snakes, is amazing to me.
Snakes are pretty cool.
I love all the blue-green snakes. Mystic Snake, oh my god, so good. And I also, it's a really powerful commander. My best commander deck is a green-white Sigarda Voltron deck, and so I love Voltron strategies. And as a result, I saw Casito and immediately thought, that's a good Voltron commander.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to try not to go too much detail into this because we're stepping in on our info for next time. But basically, I love the green-blue deck. I love both Azuri and Casito. If I was unable to choose one of them, it would be Marin of Clan Neltoth, though. That is a really good commander.
Yeah, Marin is good.
I love that you're almost certainly going to get value out of it no matter what. As soon as it hits the field, you know, it's not going to do something as soon as it hits the field, but it activates on your end step. You don't even need to have experience counters for you to get something out of it. It's a very good commander.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are our favorite commanders from that. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Man, I didn't realize I was doing a podcast with a girl. Or are you just a 12-year-old?
I'm just 12. Forever 16.
Ah.
I'll give you all just a few more seconds just in case you've got comments that are coming in.
Yeah, they might be a little bit behind.
Yeah. But, you know, I really want to thank those of you that are still here for sticking through with us. I know it wasn't the best thing in the world, but I really hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah, I myself know that I enjoyed so far making it. Pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, the nerves just melted away.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. That was awesome. I can't wait to do another one, honestly.
Yep, just all the actual thing. Problem. I don't like thinking hard.
See, I get so bored at work that I just have that's all I do is think about stuff for this, which is why most of my ideas come to you when you're working.
That is true. And see, when I'm at work, I actually have to work. Yeah, thanks, Dapper. So I guess that's about it.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go ahead and jump off of here, and I can start editing to get this up on where it needs to go.
Yep. It'll be up on YouTube as soon. Probably the word that YouTube does.
You mean Twitch?
No,
VOD?
no, YouTube. No, the Twitch VOD. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The upload process, rendering, YouTube rendering.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So yeah, this will be up on YouTube. You get to, experience all of our crappy banter afterwards and beforehand because, yeah.
And if you're curious or you want to subscribe to the podcast where it will be put up just the audio only, this is going to be through Buzzsprout. I put it several times in the comment feed. For the time being, this is where we'll be putting them up. And, well, I hope you enjoy. Again, the audio only version, at least this time, is probably, and most times, is probably going to be higher quality than otherwise. Just because I'll be able to put in intro and outro music. We are not sure how to do that well while live streaming yet. So
Yeah.
we didn't want to ruin that. But yeah, so there's that info. And if you want more info, again, just check out our Twitter. I guess I'll link that as well. And let's see here. Getting all. So, there's Top Deck Cast. Again, follow us on Twitter. We will give you more info when it comes out.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for anybody on YouTube